Heyo, what up? This is FyrBorne. I'm sure you already know who I am if you're watching this video, but people have been asking me a lot about how I feel about Battlefield 2042, and I figured the easiest way to go about explaining that would be just some live gameplay. I say live, obviously this is going to be recorded for you guys, but it's live for me, and I'm going to talk about pretty much everything I feel about the game as we play through around here, so that way, you know, it's unfiltered, pretty live action to it. We can really talk about the things that really matter. I'm going to go through two lists, basically. One, things I like. Obviously, that's going to be an easy one for a lot of people, because if you've played a Battlefield title, Battlefield is Battlefield, and it does Battlefield things really well. We're going to go through two things I don't like. Those are going to be things a little bit harder to talk about for some people, and really easy for others. It just depends on your overall attitude towards Battlefield titles and shooter titles and preference for shooters. That's going to be always the one that's going to be a little hit or miss depending on who you talk to. And then we're going to go through a few things I would like to see changed. And of course, you know, this is all an opinion piece because I don't find myself to be the, you know, end-all be-all of rules or ideas about what makes Battlefield good or what makes Battlefield bad, or why you shouldn't play it or why you should play it. All I can really do is give you a good rundown of what I think of the game. And so we're going to just attempt to do that to the best of my capabilities while also shooting things. That way you all can see some, again, live, unfiltered gameplay. Basically, I just don't want to nitpick little bitty, like, perfect situations to show you all the best moments of it or the worst moments of it. I really just want you all to see just kind of how this game works in, like I said, a live environment. Today, I'm going to be using the SVK. That is a marksman rifle. For those of you who aren't familiar with me, I am originally from Battlefield 4, the #1 DMR user in the world. So whenever I have the option to use marksman rifles, I tend to. Now, granted, in Battlefield 4, I used marksman rifles because they were awful, and I thought that was hilarious. They're actually pretty solid in this game. So let's go ahead and start talking about the things we like. The things we like is always the easy stuff to talk about because you enjoy them. And the more you enjoy something, the more fun it is to talk about it. So, gunplay. I actually don't hate the gunplay. I know that there's going to be preferences or, you know, to other versions of the game. A lot of people a large portion of our current, like, community are from Battlefield 1, which means they're going to enjoy generally that Battlefield 1 gameplay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just obviously not my preference. I am more of a Battlefield 3 Bad Company style gameplay, and this one feels more like Bad Company Battlefield 3 style gameplay to me. So it makes it really easy for me to enjoy that. Whereas on the other side, a lot of people, you know, may not like it. There is obviously bloom in the game. They've already addressed that, and I imagine that's going to be changing. The M5, I actually like that thing. A lot of people are talking that it's not so great. I like the marksman rifles. Marksman rifles are pretty good. SMGs are really good. Pistols are okay. They're at least somewhat lethal, so that's always nice for any shooter to have somewhat lethal pistols. The sniper rifles seem fun. We haven't seen all of them, obviously, because there's some of them that it's further up in the list, and that's not going to be out there for a while for a lot of people. Apparently, it's a one-shot to the chest, which is insane, but this SVK is a two-shot anywhere, so equally insane. There might be some gun balance stuff that might need to be done in the long run. ARs, on the other hand, a lot of people are saying that they are the weakest that they have been in a long time. If that's the case, it's how it works. Stop giving up on your medics, by the way. We want to revive you. I guess if you're a good medic, you want to revive people. So gunplay, I think overall is pretty solid. There's a lot of good stuff to be said about it if you're looking for the Battlefield style experience. Second part, the specialists are not as bad as I thought they were going to be. I'm not going to lie, I was not sold on specialists. I like my classes. I like the idea of, you know, knowing what my job is as a player, especially when you're dealing with, like, class-based warfare, where you're dealing with, like, medics and engineers and supports and all that stuff. That's because in a lot of games, you don't really get that. Battlefield was pretty unique in the fact that it did feature class gameplay. It did feature gameplay where, you know, you could be multiple styles of of a player, you know? You could be that. And that's what Battlefield's always, you know, kind of like sold you on. And this game, when they first showed off Specialist, seemed like that was not going to be the case. And it turns out the Specialists aren't bad. They're not bad. I like having some of the abilities. Angel is my favorite, as that's who I'm also running today. I like Angel. He is a all-around pretty solid support unit, and he can provide you medic while providing you ammo, armor, resupplies, new loadouts, all sorts of different stuff. It's pretty solid. McKay is not nearly as strong as I thought he was going to be, but I think that's primarily because I think Sundance really stole the show. Sundance is probably the strongest of all the operators that I've seen. Falk, don't really like her nearly as much. She is a medic, but she is not a... I don't feel like her Surette pistol is very useful. It is useful, but not very useful. You can get the same effect from a med kit from almost anybody. Irish, I think, is really good. Irish and Sundance are probably the two best on the field right now. Irish is barrier, insane. He spawns with armor. Solid character. But the characters, like I said, they're not breaking. They're not breaking at all. I thought that the weapons being all class might have been a little weird, but so far I haven't really ran into any issue with that. Honestly, everybody was concerned with the vehicles not being able to survive because everybody could run a rocket launcher. We all know that wasn't going to work, but it was a good concern. Vehicles seem to still be running around. I'm not a vehicle player, so I am not going to be your hit or miss on that one. There's going to be a lot of very good vehicle players out there that you would probably still want to ask about this. If you're a pilot fan, there's a gentleman by the name of Prolosco, who's an amazing pilot. He will have some pretty good info for you. If I remember to put it in the link in there, I will put his Twitch in there. He's a super awesome dude. And if you're EU, then you've probably seen him before. If you're American, you might not have. But, so, operators, not bad. They're not breaking like I thought they might be. The maps, they've got good areas to fight. I'm not upset with the maps. I think the maps look nice. Depending on what gen stuff you're running on, they obviously are going to look different. I am running on a 3070 here with a Ryzen 9 5800X. I've got 64 gigabytes DDR4 at 3200 with a B, 570 Gamer Pro Elite Carbon Gamer Words motherboard. So I've got a really high-end rig right here. So it's going to run nicer on this than it obviously is going to be on Xbox One. I'm very aware that I do have a far, easier time having good performance because of that. And so I can only really judge it off that. But it runs fine for me. I haven't had too many issues. Of course, I'm also not like a super nitpick PC player. So I'm not going to go in and just like super fine-tune everything. So I'm probably getting even medium performance for my own stuff. I'm running everything on here on medium that you'll be seeing. So this isn't on ultra graphics. I don't even know how many FPS I get. That's how much of a just, hey, I want to play the game, I really don't care kind of thing is. So obviously, if you're a performance nut and you just want the best of the best, I know right now that the game is not doing great on that. So if that is one of your big things, it will probably get on your nerves. So just be aware of that, obviously. We'll move off to another thing that I've really been enjoying, which is the fact that the plus system. I love the plus system. It does change the way that the game works. And if I wanted to play the same game year after year, I would have never quit. I would have started and never quit playing WoW, because that's really what the game is. You make one game, you stay that game, you never change it. WoW. DICE, I always do applaud them for attempting to build something different every time. They do go too far a lot of times and try to reinvent the wheel, and it's not a smart play all the time. Sometimes they do it amazingly. Sometimes they do amazing, and I've always enjoyed Battlefield gameplay, even when it wasn't my favorite game. It at least they always took a chance to do something a little bit different somewhere in there. That was a teammate. Sorry, teammate. So, the plus system, I really enjoy it. I like the fact that I can go through and change my gun on the go on what I need it to be I think that that's a really cool system. I like having that option because no other game has really given me that option outside of Rainbow Six Vegas back in the day. I loved Vegas. Vegas was my game. So I get to take my DMR, be close quarters, and then long range, and then close quarters again, just as I move across the thing. It does cause some issues in some ways, whereas the fact that means that there is no longer a benefit for running the correct class, as you can change it anytime. That's going to be one of those nitpick things for some of the people who care more about how the game runs than others. And you know what? I can understand it. I really can. I can understand that some people may not like that because it no longer gives you the... Ooh, I just got shot in the face. It no longer gives you the advantage that if you plan well. Because now anybody has the answer anytime. It does break some of the rock, paper, scissors feeling of the game that a lot of people enjoy. And if that's a complaint to yours, I completely understand. I do. Someone got up there and saved and killed him, and someone else revived me. What a boss. That's some actual teamwork. Every so often, this game surprises you with some people actually doing teamwork, and man, that's the best thing about this game. Another thing about the game. It's a lot more fun with friends. If you have friends, this game is a lot more enjoyable. For those of you who are going to hit me up with Forever Alone memes, I feel you. I would probably be much more frustrated attempting to play this game solo all the time, as, you know, I don't even game solo most of the time. Most of the time, if I'm playing a game, if I'm going to be playing a game for me, I'm playing it with a friend. I'm a social gamer. That's what I do. So, you know, I attempt to do that whenever possible. I am still not used to the bullet velocity for this marksman rifle. Okay, so we've gone over the things that I think they've done really well. Gunplay feels fun. The plus system is good. The operators did not break the game like I was afraid they were going to. Overall, solid on that point, you know? Solid. Let's go into the things that we don't like. And that's going to be a kind of an odd list because, again, there are going to be preferences. There's going to be other people that will probably like some of these things. There'll be people that do not like some of these things. What I don't like, graphical glitches. Just glitches altogether. Nobody likes glitches, but if you've been a player of the Battlefield series for a long time, you know there's a ton of them. Battlefield does glitches like nobody else's business. Also, the DMR's hip fire is way too strong, by the way, if you didn't already notice that. It hits way further out than it should. But tons of glitches. The game has a ton of glitches. Revive near the walls prevents revives. Graphical issues. The respawn bug is there. You occasionally will be spawned out of the server or out of the play area and die at the very beginning of the round. There's multiple times where you can no longer stand up. You'll be stuck crawling. You can't shoot your gun. You can't climb the line. You can't change a weapon. You can't respawn. You can't cancel your spawn. The bugs are a lot. Multiple times where you can't pull your chute, like that right there. There are a lot of bugs. Are most of them game breaking? No. But as they compound, they become more and more irritating, and especially the longer you do it. You know, it's death by 1,000 paper cuts. I've never accused DICE of having a flawless launch. I've never accused any game company of having a flawless launch because, let's be honest, games are complicated nowadays. They have put together some stuff that it's a lot of work. It is. It really is. And there's very little you can do to avoid the glitches that are going to come out of them. There is so many moving parts in a Battlefield title that if it didn't have glitches, I would have to wonder what deal they've done with Satan. You know, it's going to be one of those things that you're going to have them. You're going to have glitches. But how much do they affect the overall enjoyment of the gameplay? That is the question. And that is where we're at here. There are a lot of them, and they do cause problems. The glitches. Don't like them. We're going to go back and make a statement about guns. The bloom. I do not like it. Do not enjoy it. The fact that I can be on target and off target at the same time is not my favorite. There are people that enjoy bloom. I don't know why. Some deem it as a balance mechanic. Some deem it as a equalizing mechanic. I think of it most of the time as a way of punishing good players, and I do think a lot of people share a similar stance. Again, if that's one of the things you love, hey, that's awesome. This game needs to have something for everybody, and I think that's great. Another thing I don't like, as far as gun balance is concerned, I don't think that there should ever be a one-shot to the chest sniper rifle. Honestly, I don't think there should be a two-shot to the chest DMR either. I think 2 to the head, or 1 to the head and 1 to the body, perfect balance. 2 to the body at any range, this SVK, it's a little too strong. Honestly, it is. The DM7 is a solid rifle. I think it's great. I haven't got to try one of the other guns. And that's another thing. As the game progresses, we will continue to see more and more things that we like and don't like. As far as gunplay is concerned, as people continue to unlock attachments and guns and stuff like that, it'll make the game change as people learn maps, unlock guns, unlock attachments. The guns themselves take a long time to max. That isn't a complaint. That's more of a recognition. That, again, is the problem. Although he did land a headshot, so I don't feel too bad about that one. One of the biggest things, I think, after that, we're going to go again into operators. And this was my complaint from the very beginning when we played the beta. But there is absolutely no reason why we should be fighting operator to operator that all look the same on 2 different teams. I understand we want to sell microtransaction stuff. I understand. That's what they want. They're going to want us to sell things because that's how they make their money. And any game nowadays that doesn't have a proper microtransaction back-end selling point is most likely going to fail because, you know, that's where a lot of them recoup a lot of their spending nowadays. Microtransactions go a long way. But they could have at least gave them the same abilities with a different character on the opposite team. Right now, the UI is better than the beta, but it is still not perfect, and I don't like it a lot. The in-game UI does okay. The out-of-game, like the menu UI, I don't like. And I won't be the first one to say it, and I won't be the last one to say it, but it's a preference thing. But it's not for me. It's a little convoluted, a little complicated, and I particularly am not a fan. I think if I never would have played a Battlefield game before, it would have been okay. But having seen where we started and where we're at now, it does seem like there's a few too many steps to get things done. Too many extra buttons. Too many extra buttons to go places. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe it helps reduce like menu confusion or something. I don't know. I'm not a UI designer. I'm not a UX designer. I just know whether or not I like something, you know, and I'm not about it. Same thing with the characters. The fact that the characters all are the same from side to side, I think right now, especially as the game has just launched, that the characters looking the same on both sides. If the UI glitches out for even just a bare moment, you don't know if you're fighting ally enemy. Again, it's still better than the beta was, but I would love even just like a hard blue line around my allies or whatever. So if I don't see that, I know it's an enemy. You know, anything to help me differentiate the teams, that would be great. Unfortunately enough, we still don't have that, and it becomes a problem in gunfights. Again, better than the beta, so I applaud them for that. Okay, off of specialist again. We'll go back through the list how we were doing already. We're on the maps. The maps, though they look nice and though they have good areas to fight, they are, I think, too big. The best way to play this game right now is Breakthrough, in my opinion. I like chaos. I like fighting. Breakthrough seems to be the best way to do it. But there are multiple sections of the map that are just like, what is this area out here? Like, there is no objective. There is no point. It is just a giant hill to run over and over again. And there's multiple areas like this on multiple maps where there's really not a lot of reason for being there. And yet here we are. During one of the press pieces, they were talking about how the area was to be fought in clusters rather than all in 100% This guy's chasing me around this rock. It's all meant to be fought in clusters rather than in... Oh, did I get him? Did I get him? Am I knife fighting people? I am. So it's meant to be fought in clusters, which means that they're supposed to have areas of fighting and then areas of movement. They did offer us the ability to call in vehicles. That doesn't work sometimes, which makes that even more frustrating. I don't know. I don't feel like the cluster idea is necessarily playing out how they felt like they wanted to, especially on these larger maps, especially in some of the areas where you won't see people for a long time. It's 128 people. That's a lot of people. I personally would have probably preferred keep it at 64 and condense the maps down, and then even allow us to have cross-play between 3 and 4, like Battlefield or PS4 and 5, and then, you know, anything like that. But right now, the cluster fighting it doesn't feel like it's working to me. As people learn the maps, as I learn the maps, maybe it'll work out, but right now it doesn't feel like it's working for me. You know, what can you do? Is this a mini? Oh, it is a minigun working. Cool. It just wasn't ramping up at first. The hovercrafts, we're going to get into the vehicles now. The hovercrafts are the bane of everybody's existence, but I think as far as a sandbox weapon goes, it's actually hilarious. It's been used for a lot of really weird stuff, and I think it's great. It's just funny. The hovercrafts are funny. The miniguns on the hovercraft probably need a buff, but the rest of the hovercraft is really strong. Please don't change anything else on it. The vehicles themselves, though, they seem like people are having fun with them. I've never seen so many vehicles be used all the time. You know, I mean, you still have to get around these giant maps, so people are blind to these things, man. People are blind to these things. Is that an enemy tank? That's a friendly tank. Okay, cool. Like I said, UI, it's really hard. It's really hard to tell people apart sometimes. One of the big things, again, like I said, with the vehicles is people were afraid that everybody's going to run the recoilless, the rocket launcher. Either nobody is running them, or the countermeasures for these things are so strong that air vehicles are just running rampant. I haven't been farmed this much by Hilo since Battlefield 3, and it shows. It hurts. I could fix it, always run a rocket launcher, but honestly, you know, speaking from just play style, obviously I'm a medic, so I've never really had that as an option. But vehicles feel like they're in a strong place. Maybe they're too strong, maybe they're not. For me, though, they do not. They do get on my nerves. Obviously, I'm here running one right now. I can't tell. Is that an enemy? I think it's an enemy. Yeah, exactly. Oh, the Nightbird killed me. I don't know. I can't ever tell what's shooting me sometimes. Yeah, this round is getting close to done, so I guess I'm going to get to my final points here. My final points here, this is going to be the things where I feel like need to be said about the game. Battlefield is a fun experience. Is this game competitive experience? Not in the least bit. I don't think this game features the competitive hardcore feel at all. This is fun. This is the idea of just playing for fun. It makes a problem for me because I really don't have any reason to care whether or not I win or lose, as it doesn't feel like there's a reward for doing so. Same thing to be said about Hazard Zone. I don't feel like there's a reason for me to play. Hazard Zone doesn't feel like I win or lose anything for those fights. I don't feel like I'm really getting anywhere on the game as I unlock stuff or characters, as it doesn't feel like it changes most of the fights. I would say that the game has done something really, really well when it's currently in the sandbox feel. It's done that really well. What it hasn't done very well is made me feel like I'm doing something that matters. By increasing the player count, I feel even less impactful as a player in the game, and it causes a bit of a disdain for why to spend so much time to try to do something. Again, fun, but for no particular reason, you know. And sometimes the reason is just to play, and that's okay. That's a reason enough. But for a person who's been playing BRs for as long as I've been playing now, nonstop, this game doesn't have something that makes me feel like I have to keep playing it. So for a fun time every so often, cool. But this game wouldn't be something that I would play endlessly, as I'm sure the bugs and some of the issues would begin to give me so many issues that I would be more frustrated with the game than enjoying it. The game is mostly fun with friends. This is a social game at its finest. Do I think it'll ever be a competitive game? No. I hope they never even attempt to try to push it to be competitive, because if they try to push this game to be competitive, it's going to ruin... there's the no parachute bug again. It's going to ruin a lot of things that I think that are enjoyable about the way that it's built right now. The overall feeling... people are going to ask, should I buy this game? If you have friends who are going to play this game with you, if you feel like people will actually spend time with you on this game, go for it. If you have access to EA Pro on PC or on console, even if that's an available option, it's a set amount a year to get all of EA's games. That would be the way I'd recommend to get it. If you want to buy it straight out, you can. But again, it's mostly fun with friends. And if you try to go into it solo, I don't know how long you'll be able to enjoy it. And I never wish that on somebody. But the make or break for me will be how they deal with the day one patch and how they treat seasons. The gameplay, like I said right now, is fun for the sake of fun. And if you can get into that idea, that sandbox idea, and you can look past the idea that there's no carrot on the stick, really, because there's no stress unless you make it for yourself, and the fun is what you make it for yourself as well. It's the perfect idea for sandbox. If you are a sandbox player, this is a game for you. If you are a competitive player, you might want to look somewhere else. But thank you guys for hanging out. I really appreciate y'all. If you haven't already hit that sub button on my YouTube, it would mean a ton. We're working on 5K by the end of the year, and it'd be an honor to have you. We live stream every day, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, playing the games, doing the things, living the life. And we do our member games every Saturday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. We play a lot of Rebirth Island on Warzone, and we have a good time. We talk a lot. We have a lot of fun. We get to know each other. Thank you all so much for checking this out. Hopefully, I've answered a lot of your questions. If you don't have any, or you have any questions that I didn't answer and you would like some answers from me, or maybe the community to help you with some of the answers, leave some comments down below. I respond to every comment I can, as long as it makes sense. As long as it makes sense. But thank you all so much. You all have yourselves a wonderful evening. Until next time, peace.